What would happen if humanity stopped thinking like a planet-bound species? Imagine a future where Earth is no longer our only home. Millions of people live on other worlds. Giant machines harvest asteroids. Spacecraft travel between planets, and the energy of the sun is being used to power an entire civilization. But this would only be the beginning. In 1964, Soviet astronomer Nikolai Kardashev proposed a simple way to measure the progress of an advanced civilization. Not by its population, not by its technology, but the amount of energy it can control. He called it the Kardashev Scale. A Type 1 civilization would control most of the energy available on its own planet. A Type 2 civilization would control the energy of its entire star. And a Type 3 civilization would operate on the scale of an entire galaxy. Humanity is still far below Type 1. But imagine that, over thousands or millions of years, we keep advancing. We leave Earth. Then we leave the solar system. And eventually, we begin transforming the stars themselves. That is where the story becomes truly extraordinary. The first major step beyond Earth would be becoming a multi-planet civilization. Mars might become a permanent human world. Asteroids could become enormous sources of metals and other resources. Artificial habitats could be built in space, allowing millions or even billions of people to live without ever standing on a natural planet. But the greatest source of energy in our neighborhood would still be the sun. A Type 2 civilization could potentially capture a huge portion of that energy. One famous idea is the Dyson sphere. Not a solid shell around the sun, but potentially a vast swarm of satellites and structures orbiting the star, collecting its energy. Imagine looking at the solar system from far away. And instead of seeing one bright star surrounded by empty darkness, you see an entire civilization built around it. But one star would eventually stop being enough. So humanity would move outward. One star becomes many. Many become thousands. And eventually, millions. At that point, humanity would no longer be a civilization belonging to one planet, or even one solar system. It would belong to a galaxy. The Milky Way contains hundreds of billions of stars. And around many of those stars could be planets, moons, asteroids, and enormous amounts of raw material. A Type 3 civilization would have access to this unimaginable scale of resources. It could build habitats around countless stars, harvest the energy of stellar systems, move enormous quantities of matter through space, and perhaps construct structures so large that they would make our largest buildings look microscopic. But there is another transformation that could be even more important. Human beings would no longer have to remain entirely biological. Advanced artificial intelligence could operate spacecraft for centuries. Machines could build new settlements before humans ever arrived. And eventually, humans could integrate more deeply with machines, changing what it even means to be human. A civilization spread across a galaxy couldn't depend on messages traveling instantly. A signal from one side of the Milky Way could take tens of thousands of years to reach the other. So each part of civilization might become increasingly independent, while still sharing the same larger technological heritage. And then comes the question nobody can answer. If an entire galaxy can eventually become a single technological ecosystem, what would come after the galaxy? This is where the idea of a Type 4 civilization enters. There is no simple blueprint for it, because the scale itself becomes difficult to imagine. A Type 4 civilization would represent a level of control far beyond a single planet, a star, or even a galaxy. Instead of using energy from a handful of stars, it could potentially operate on a cosmic scale. Imagine civilization spread across enormous regions of space, machines surrounding stars, artificial worlds drifting between solar systems, entire planets being transformed into habitats, and energy flowing through networks that stretch across unimaginable distances. At this point, civilization would no longer be about building bigger cities. It would be about engineering the universe around itself. Stars could become infrastructure. Planets could become raw material. And matter itself could become something to rearrange. The difference between nature and technology would begin to disappear. A forest is natural. A planet is natural. A star is natural. But a sufficiently advanced civilization might look at all of them the way we look at a piece of land today, as something that can be transformed. And perhaps the strangest part is this. Humanity is currently using only a tiny fraction of the energy available on Earth. We haven't reached the first step. We haven't built permanent cities on another planet. We haven't reached another star. We haven't even begun to use the resources of our own solar system on a civilization-wide scale. Yet the universe gives us an enormous amount of time. Stars can shine for billions of years. Civilizations, if they survive long enough, could have an almost unimaginable amount of time to advance. So perhaps the journey from Type 1 to Type 4 isn't about one incredible invention. It is about thousands of discoveries, millions of machines, countless generations, and an expansion that never stops. First, humanity controls its planet, then its star, then its galaxy, and eventually, perhaps the universe itself becomes the frontier. We don't know whether humanity will ever reach that future. But if we do, the civilization that reaches the stars may be so different from us that we may barely recognize it as human. And the most incredible thought is this. Right now, all of that future civilization is still hidden inside one tiny species, living on one small planet, around one ordinary star. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us to grow and to bring you more amazing stories. See you in the next one.